We've seen, obviously, Eddie Hearn's deal with Sky's at the moment coming to an end. DAZN's into the UK. We've got the introduction of Wasserman. Where do you think the future of broadcasting is with boxing?
So what's the UK? So I want to know, what's the introduction? The introduction of Wasserman is what? Is that Wasserman with the Sauerlands, yeah?
I believe that Sauerlands partnered with them, or Wasserman's acquired them, and they're becoming a promotional outfit.
Yeah,
I think
that's a big deal. And there's a tie-up between Wasserman and MTK Global, right? Because of Sauerland. So there's a tie-up there, which is going to be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I'm sitting back, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen. I think that platforms like Sky are in trouble now. And I'm not saying it because I used to be at Sky and I'm no longer there. No. They're in trouble now because Triller boxing have just shown America how this thing is meant to go. Right? Look at the numbers that Mike Tyson and Roy Jones did. It's ridiculous. So I would think everything's going to be streamed now, and it's going to be to the discretion of when you want to watch it, how you want to watch it. You know what I mean? How comfortable you're going to be when you're sitting there watching it. So the days are done. So what I'm saying is, like, I believe Eddie Hearn with DAZN, and now DAZN entered the UK. I think what I believe is going to happen is that pay-per-view fights will still be on Sky because they've got the best product for it right now. Right? But then eventually, I don't think the fighters or the promoter, Eddie Hearn, will be working with Sky. He'll be working with Sky on pay-per-view shows, but he won't be working with Sky on like regular shows, like when we get like the proper domestic fights that come on a day-to-day, on a week-by-week. I don't think we're going to get Eddie Hearn doing that. That's what I believe is going to happen.
And in terms of the introduction of Wasserman, how do you think that's going to make an impact both within the UK in boxing and globally as well?
I think that's a very, very bold move by Wasserman to go and do. But obviously there is a market. There's a market for boxing, and also I also got to say, I've dealt with loads of people in boxing, and I take as I find. But the Sauerland brothers are the coolest guys out. Trust me, they are so cool. They're proper guys. Very, very affable, very, very courteous and decent. On the times where I've had dealers with them, they're just being really, really cool. And they put respect to my name as well. I got nothing but love and respect for those guys. You know, Nissa and Salah. You know what I mean? Good guys.
Well, what's your opinion on the older fighters? Like we've seen Oscar De La Hoya coming out saying he's making a comeback. What's your opinion on
I think
these
Oscar
older
De La Hoya is fighting on July the 5th on Triller. There could be some good fights on the undercard, which I'm looking forward to as well. It is what it is. If there's a market, Oscar De La Hoya is still a very big market, but his market is not as a promoter. The market was for Oscar De La Hoya, the fighter. So I think they're still going to have some sentimental value behind him making a comeback. I think it's a bit selfish, to tell you the honest truth. I think he should be concentrating on the talents that he has, and he has fantastic talents. But if it was something like 95% of their revenue was being made off of Canelo, Canelo's no longer there. So Oscar De La Hoya now, maybe it's like, oh, he's feeling a bit like, oh, I'm not in the limelight no more, and I want to come back and do a fight. Let him go do it, and we'll see how he does. But remember, Oscar De La Hoya is my age. Right? He's my age. There was a reason why he lost to Manny Pacquiao all them years ago. He lost to Manny Pacquiao because he's old.
So if their level of competition is the same age, do you still think they shouldn't be kind of stepping back into the ring? Or do you think it's fair game if they're fighting someone that could be competitive?
The major thing is the health and safety of the sport and the sportsmen who are competing. So as long as there's rules and stipulations, just like when Mike Tyson came back to fight Roy Jones, there were stipulations in how the fight was going to be formulated. Then if there's things like that, then I don't see why it shouldn't happen. But boxing is no joke. And the older you get, and especially, and this is no disrespect to Oscar De La Hoya, but Oscar De La Hoya has really abused his body with the drink and drugs. He's been open about it, right? But we've seen the transformation in Mike Tyson, where Mike Tyson, who has himself openly admitted of the abuse of the drink and drugs. But the difference is we saw that transformation from what Mike Tyson was to Mike Tyson transformed himself to, right? So in that transfiguration period, we got to witness it. We got to see the build-up of seeing Mike hit punch pad, do the pads again and looking sharp and thinking, wow, yeah, okay, we get it. Mike, you can come back, right? Which he did do. Difference with Oscar De La Hoya is this: at what weight are you gonna do? You get older, your fighting weight goes up. What you're gonna try and get back down to your fighting weight, which will be sacrilege anyway, because fighters never walk around at their fighting weight anyway. So you're gonna try and get down to a fight. What are you gonna do? You're gonna come back at middleweight? What? I'm trying to see what you're trying to do. Right. So because of that, now you know the major thing is like he's trying to attempt like to have a rematch with Floyd Mayweather. That's the thing. He's trying to get a rematch. He's trying to get a rematch with Floyd Mayweather on some kind of, maybe on one of these platforms, and it will generate mad money. But as long as he doesn't, as long as they don't get too ambitious with who they're picking for him to fight, then come back then.
I saw
but
today,
me personally,
yeah,
me and Oscar De La Hoya, I'm 8 months older than Oscar De La Hoya. I wouldn't want to fight nobody at all, right? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? When they say your youth is for fight and your old age is for counsel. So you got to use wisdom in this, and wisdom comes when you get grey hair.
Yeah, no, I saw a rumor today. Apparently, they're mentioning Eddie Alvarez, which is a former UFC fighter, to be his opponent, but that hasn't been confirmed. That was just a rumor I saw online. Yeah, that's what they meant.
That's why I like talking to you young guys. You lot keep me up to date.
Okay, so sticking on with Triller, obviously they've got Jake Paul fighting tomorrow on Saturday as well. Now, that whole thing about influencers, there's a big debate going on. Is it good or is it bad for the sport of boxing? Obviously, there's a side for both ends of the coin. But where do you sit with that?
Where I sit with it, I'm saying those guys can fight whoever they want to fight, but don't get too twisted and fight someone who can really fight because you'll get hurt. That's what I'm saying.
Cool. So, but do you think it's beneficial in terms of like bringing eyes to the sport? Do you see that side of the argument, or?
I don't think it actually is. I think it's bringing eyes to the sport for their that moment when they're fighting. But I don't think they're going to say, oh, well, let's look on the undercard and let's check out this next guy. Unless there's an exceptional talent on there. So I would say if I have a really talented fighter, I'll put them on their undercard because they're going to get eyeballs. A really talented, special talent. Like we saw a kid recently who fought on the Frampton Bill on the D4G promotions, Keyshawn Davis. If he was to fight on something like that, then I say, yeah, it'd be great for him because he's of that ilk of that crowd. But if you're just got like a guy who's a good fighter, but you just put it on the undercard, no, I don't think it's going to help the sport. But it's still generating eyeballs, so it's helping the sport kind of indirectly.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think they've got Pro Grey against Red Catch and a few kind of established boxers on the undercard, so they're kind of doing that as well. Yeah.
I mean, that's good. Pro Grey is a very good fighter. Very good fighter. So, yeah, that's cool.